So this guy's been blocked from the channel because he's disgusting. But before he got blocked, these are why he got blocked. He left a long chain of comments. He left this on the video of an interview that I had with April Chapman over at the Standard of Truth podcast. April is an African-American woman. And this is what he proceeded to comment on the videos. And this is an Adventist. He says, Mr. Myles, so how many more black women are you going to depend on to get your toxic message out? Firstly, Ellen White made it clear that her writing should be considered as one would scripture, meaning gather all the writings presented on a certain topic, subject, or doctrine and evaluate it in its entirety. Friend, yes or no? The irony. Did you or did you not gather all that was written on the topics you wish to address? Second, if your desperate attempt to spread the word against Adventism, you had to do what black men accuse black women of. It is no secret that black women would jump at the opportunity to speak to white men. You couldn't approach a white woman? Sir, she approached me because she has Adventist family members. Why are you focused in on skin color? I don't care what the guest's skin color is. The person has to be one, black, and two, a woman. Well, we've seen how that's panned out because this interview took place a little while ago. It's not possible to be interviewed by a white male. Did you know black men consider black women at the bottom of the rankings in humanity? It's all over YouTube. Don't take my word for it. It's not what I say, but what black men have to say about black women. So you don't have to target the lowest and most toxic of humanity to get your toxic message out, correct? Nice try, Mr. Myles. You and I are the exact opposite. That's the only true thing you've said so far, sir. You left Adventism and joined the Reformed faith. I left the Reformed faith to become an Adventist. Shall we debate the Westminster Confession of Faith starting on page 71 to see how it contradicts other texts in the same volume? No, sir, I have no interest in talking with you. You are vile, disgusting, and it's very obvious that you're not a part of the Reformed faith or the wider body of Christ, because if you were and you were part of my church, you'd be under church discipline. Because this is disgusting. But see, folks, this is the sort of thing, and I'm not saying that this guy's necessarily, it's hard to believe that, well, then again, the internet kind of brings out all sorts of things in people. But people like this probably read the Ellen White stuff and they agree with it. This guy's proud to be an Adventist. Adventist, come get your boy. There's his handle. Public information. Not saying to dox the guy, but disgusting. Disgusting.
Let's see how if there's any rebuke here. All right.
I don't know what to say about that. I ain't got some truth to it. I'm gonna leave that where that is. It's in between him and Myles.
Open rebuke is better than secret love, my friends. So let's see what you guys are going to do. Balls in your court, SDAs.
Nasty. Like, what in the world are you talking about? Get off YouTube, dude. You're getting your understanding of the worth of people off of YouTube, and you're professing to be a Christian? This is why we're addressing stuff like this, Adventists, because of people like this guy. So, with all that out there, now that you've heard the common responses, oh, no, she was referring to being unequally yoked in marriage. No. Like Jason claimed, by race, you have to utilize the word how it was understood in Ellen White's day, which simply meant types of people. Yet, ironically, he doesn't apply that same standard with the word amalgamation, which was utilized in Ellen's day, as we're going to see, to refer to race mixing and beats around, and it referred to certain races of people. Like, that's what it referred to as producing offspring who were amalgamated, a mixture, miscegenation, subhuman. You've heard their excuse that race...
Notice how he's putting these words in there. See, what he's trying to do is condition people to accept what he's going to later say. Stuff like words like offspring. Now, where did Ellen G. White say that in her writing, in those texts that she's going to bring up? Well, if people see them in the Testament, I just want you to keep that in mind. Just look to where she says offspring. See if she brings that word in. Because like I said, they're trying to paint a narrative.
Race mixing was in reference to the descendants of Seth and the ungodly race of Cain. You've heard the counsel on intermarriages was simply wise counsel for the day due to political climate. That's all she was saying. So,
yeah, because that doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense. Can't help these people. Well, we'll soon get into what they really want to say. I see we almost...
We're going to test this. We're going to take a look at Ellen White's quotes as well as statements from a number of her contemporaries, not SDA apologists 70, 80, 90 years removed. And we're going to see how the early SDAs understood Ellen's words. And we're going to show that these modern excuses that SDA apologists give conflict with how others at that time understood the statements. CMB, the floor is yours, sir. And it will be for the majority. I'll have a couple parts to splice in if you don't have the information already in your slides. But if you do, the floor is yours, sir, if you would like to present.
Alrighty, let's get down into it. CMB, the ambassador. Do it.
You are muted, brother. Oh, there we go.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Myles, and thank you for allowing us on your platform again and inviting us on. So this will be interesting. We may not get through every single thing tonight. There's more information to be had. Please check out the BK Apologist channel as well too. This is the title. This is the thumbnail, so you can find it fairly easily. Hidden Race Doctrine SDA. You put that in your YouTube search bar and you'll find it. Now, before we get going, I want to make sure that we're abundantly clear about something, right? We do not hate Seventh-day Adventists. I don't. Okay, Myles does not, and EJ does not. We don't hate SDAs. Okay, what we don't like is the system. Okay, the system is not. It's broken. It's corrupt. Okay, and if we're gonna be honest, we have to be honest and take a good hard look at some things. And before you do that, anything that you buy into, any philosophy, any worldview, any religious freedom, whatever, okay, you have to be able to make sure that it stands up to scrutiny. Truth can stand scrutiny. Okay, so if you're taking a look at it, do so honestly and see what sticks. Okay, if it's truth, it's God's truth and it can handle it. If it's not truth, some things are going to be found out to be dross and was it hay and all this other stuff that the Bible talks about. Okay, it's not going to stand. So with that said, let's jump right into it. Okay, we're already almost 40 minutes into it, 45 minutes. So let's just jump into it, guys. All right, so this is SD Belief, Adventist.org. And also, for those who say that we are just saying things out of context, in the green at the bottom of your screen, I provide the receipts. That's where you can find them, screenshot them if you need to, right? Watch the stream again, find them, okay? So that's there. So Adventist.org beliefs, this is the gift of prophecy. It says the scriptures testify that one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit is prophecy. This gift is an identifying mark of the remnant church, and we believe it was manifested in the ministry of Ellen G. White. Her writings speak with prophetic authority. Y'all caught that. And provide comfort, guidance, instruction, and correction to the church. They also make clear that the Bible is a standard by which all teaching and experience must be tested. Okay, y'all know this, right? This was alluded to earlier. Selected Messages, Book 1, page 27. In these letters, which I write in the testimonies I bear. And guys, what are testimonies?
Writings of Ellen White, or specifically the volumes of the testimony books.
There you go. Okay, so in general, we talked about the writings. Yeah, I am presenting to you that which the Lord has presented to me. I do not write one article in the paper expressing merely my own ideas. They are what God has opened before me in vision, the precious rays of light shining from the throne. Okay, the precious rays of light shining from the throne, and we're gonna see if these are precious rays of light. And you.
Okay, notice that she said articles, right? So she wrote articles and she wrote letters. Now, I'm not disagreeing that she was inspired when she did all of this. I do believe that. I just want to make that distinction with what she's saying there, because they're going to try to go somewhere.
You have to tell me.
They're like a little snake in the grass. I got my ears up. I'm listening to everything they say.
Okay, so here this is the object in question here, the line in question. If there was one sin above another, which called for the destruction of the race by the flood, it was the base crime of amalgamation of man and beast, which defaced the image of God and caused confusion everywhere. God purposed to destroy by a flood that powerful, long-lived race that had corrupted their ways before him.
All right. Now, I want you to check here and see, where did she say offspring? It's not here. Nothing about offsprings. Okay. Let's continue.
Right? This is Spiritual Gifts, volume 3, page 64. See it for yourselves. Okay. So what's the base crime, guys?
Amalgamation
of man and beast. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what she says. Now, she also says this: every species of animal which God had created were preserved in the ark. The confused species which God did not create were the result of amalgamation, were destroyed by the flood. And since the flood, there has been amalgamation of men and beast, as may be seen in the almost endless varieties of species of animals and in certain races of men.
Okay. And in certain races, they're going to focus on and in certain races of men. In other words, they're saying, well, you see what's happening here. This amalgamation mean then that white men or white women, whoever, was actually having intercourse with black men or black women. And that was a sin. So that's what they're trying to say that Ellen G. White is saying. We already went through what amalgamation is according to the dictionary that existed back in Ellen White time. What the word meant then. And of course, they're saying that, oh, she's not using amalgamation that way. She's using amalgamation. Amalgamation is the unity of two different things. And they want to say now that different mean different races. Huh? No, it speaks about animals and it speaks about men. That's what it's speaking about. Animals and speaking about men. And in certain races of men and the amalgamation of animals, right? Man and beast. It tells you actually what it's talking about. Let me read that. Since the flood, there has been amalgamation of man and beast, as may be seen in almost endless variety of species of animals, and in certain races of men. So the amalgamation, brothers and sisters, is not in between men and men, right? Because it says it's in between man and beast, and then it gives you the result. The result of this amalgamation between man and beast produces different type of animals. So they were doing amalgamation between animals as well. That's when you crossbreed, when you get two separate animals and make them and make a new species with two separate things. That's what these people were doing. And then you get and in certain races of men. Now they would want to say, okay, races of men mean blacks and whites. That's the races of men. No. It was an amalgamation. That's not in between man and man. Amalgamation is never between man and man. In this case, man and woman, because the basic intercourse, right? Because man and man can have children. Amalgamation can never be in between a man and a woman. Doesn't matter, she black, she white, she Chinese. And what happened with the Chinese? Maybe she was talking about Chinese too. Or maybe the Germans. Maybe she was talking about Germans too. Right? All these are different races of people. So, oh, basically, Germans are white. The Chinese, they're not white. I don't know what color they ain't white. They look white to me. But they ain't white neither. They're different races of men. Was you speaking about them too? But they ain't black. But as far as I know, they ain't black. But their ideas, no, see, they ain't white people. They look different, even though they're white. They're different. Their eyes, they're different races. So maybe Ellen G. White was talking about them too, right? Maybe that's what she was talking about. See, you can't reason with these people. The amalgamation between man and beast. What she's talking about here, that man, back then, when they was able to do that, these people had super eyes, brothers and sisters. They wasn't blind like us. These people was still in their high development phase. We can't even run for 1 mile without dropping down dead. These people didn't have that problem. They didn't have any eye problem, brothers and sisters. These people could sit down and focus in on microscopic things. These people was there doing experiments with their blood and animal blood. Oh, let's see what we can make. That's always fascinating stuff. You may say, oh, they wouldn't do something. Why not? Why wouldn't they do it if they could? They could do it. They definitely would do it. Why wouldn't they do it? Just like today. Why wouldn't people do it today? I wouldn't do that, but somebody would do it. That's the point. You need everybody doing it. You just need somebody doing it. People doing it today. They're making things. They're doing amalgamation, brothers. That's what they're doing. And raises the man. What happened when you mix an animal with a human being? That's what they were doing. They were getting animals. And look, I wonder what type of child will come up if we mix this, do something to this child, this unborn child, when it's developing. Let's just put some type of blood in there. Let's just put something in there and see what happens. All kind of strange thing we find today. These skeletons. Oh my God! What that couldn't be. That couldn't have been alive. But you find bones. What kind of strange things, brothers and sisters? Man, these people say no. We race betas. No, they're talking about black people. You can't have an amalgamation in between a man and a woman. Amalgamation, it have to be in between a man and an animal, or an animal and a man. You're getting something from man and you're putting it into animal and see what you get. You're getting something from animal, you're putting it into man and see what you get. These were the confused race that they were talking about. Most likely these things ain't going to be fertile. They live out their life and they die. That's why you find these things, but you do find them all over the place. It wasn't like they were getting up there and say, okay, now we're gonna breed. For instance, that hasn't been done. It doesn't seem like it was possible. I mean, you find anything, but you don't find a whole bunch of them. They die off for some reason. That things exist. You can find the bones of these things. They're definitely humanoid. Some type of human they are. But they ain't human beings. And that's the point. That is the point that she was making. God did make these things, and God destroyed all these things in the flood. There's billions of people on the land. Billions of people on earth on the flood. People think about like 10 people or something. Oh, billions of people. Billions of people, and 8 was saved. Should tell you something. 8 out of billions. Yeah. 8 people were saved. It wasn't like today we have our children, have 3 or 4 children, and we live to 50 years, 60, 80 years, 90 years by reason of strength. And we die. That's the end. How about if you live in 900 years? You having children every year. And everybody else having children. You know the amount of people that was on the earth? And all of those people, 8 was saved. 8. That would tell you the degradation of the world that the world was in. Hopefully he believed that there was a flood. I don't probably believe that either. The amalgamation was in between animals and man and animals. That's what they were doing. Pregnant woman, they were putting things into pregnant woman to change the child. When the child was born, it was some kind of strange thing. It came from who? It came from a woman. And if it comes from a woman, that automatically makes them from the man race. Right? It automatically makes them some type of races of man. Because that's where man comes from, right? It comes from women. If a woman give birth to something else, it's not a human being, but it is a man. Right? Because that's where man comes from. It would have to be a man. Can't be anything else. Would it? And if you have you put something from man into an animal, say a dog, that can be some type of dog that's going to come out of there, but it's going to be different. So it could be a confused animal, but it's not going to be a man. This is what she would, you see, people with common sense would be able to figure this out, but these race baiters, they're race baiters. So they are. Everybody is better than them in their mind. Everything they see in color.
Did y'all catch that? I'm
Yeah,
going
we
slow
caught
here.
it.
Okay. Did y'all catch that? This is Spiritual Gifts, Volume 3, page 75. You guys can find it. Okay. Now, again, precious rays of light from the throne. Okay. Now, or from the bookshelf. That's the question. Okay. In the article True Blood, Race, Science, and Early Adventist Amalgamation Theory Revisited by Ronald Osborne, this is in Spectrum Magazine. And just to be fair, guys, I tried to find the Spectrum Magazine. I don't see that one often. Okay. So, but the Osborne article is available on Academia. So you can find that there. Okay. But this is where it's from here. It says in 1867, 1 year before Smith published his defense of White's words on amalgamations. We'll get to that, guys. Okay. 1 year before, Tennessee clergyman Buckner H. Payne published.
Okay, now notice what he's doing here. He's quoting someone else, and then he's going to hold Ellen White to whatever this person believes. That's what he's going to attempt to do. That's what they're all going to attempt to do. They're going to be quoting a whole bunch of people, and they say, oh, see what? This person was alive with Ellen G. White. This is what she believed. See what he said here? Yeah. We hold her to that. You can hold him, you hold her to that.
Published under the pseudonym Ariel, the second edition of his book, the second edition of the book. Okay. The Negro, what is his ethnological status? I have not been able to discover when the first edition appeared, whether before or after Spiritual Gifts. This is Osborne saying that. The quote continues, Payne used a vocabulary of, catch it, crime and confusion, very close to White's, to explain Noah's flood. God could not tolerate the crime of amalgamation. Remember what Ellen White wrote. Okay. Payne wrote.
Did she say crime of amalgamation? She didn't say that, right? This is something that someone else is saying, and they are holding her to this person's words. They're holding her. Now, was it a crime? The Bible doesn't say it was a crime, but God definitely destroyed all those things. That's what the Bible says. God destroyed it because it was defacing His image. That's what it was doing. That's what it was doing. It was defacing His image. They didn't even know what the image of God is.
Wrote that this sin of association with beasts that had produced various races. I'm going to continue. But whereas Uriah Smith argued in defense of White's prophetic authority that amalgamated blood is no worse than the blood of any sinner, and that Christians must labor for the improvement of the quote-unquote lower races.
Now, this is someone else. Now, he's going to Uriah Smith and say, okay, see what he said, she's being hold her to that too. Everything that he wrote, it's like she wrote it. We hold her to that too. She sold his book. So, yeah, she was in 100% agreement with it.
Payne heaped vile abuse on those working to raise the political and social standing of African Americans. The states of people that favor this equality, this is Payne talking, God will exterminate. And that ellipsis is in the PDF there. He said, you cannot elevate a beast to the level of a son of God. Okay? I'm talking about black folk there. When
let's think about how he put it, talking about black folk there. But she is talking about black folk, not this person, right? She's actually talking about black folks there.
Placed alongside Payne's racist screed, some might argue Smith's defense of White's statement on amalgamation thus represented a significant advance in racial thinking for the time. For one thing, Payne does not assume that animal-human amalgamation produced African Americans. He assumes that blacks were created beasts to begin with, so that black-white amalgamations were in fact the original animal-human amalgamations.
Okay. Did Ellen G. White say that? No, but this guy said that he was alive and she was alive, so that means that she's supposed to be held to this too. Did Ellen White say that? No, she really didn't say that, but he said it, so she meant that too. Oh, I see. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's it. These people doesn't have any shame. They have an agenda. I mean, he said he assumed that blacks were created beasts. Who created them? Who created these beasts that this guy is talking about? I mean, God created these beasts. God created black people as beasts. That's what he's saying, that Ellen G. White, but this guy is not saying that, but CMB is saying that Ellen G. White is agreeing with this. Ellen G. White is saying that blacks were beasts, animals. Where's the quote from Ellen G. White that said that? No, it's not there, but we take his word for it. All right.
Okay.
What else you have to say?
This is Ellen White's contemporaries. You're talking about this. Okay.
Yeah, he was alive
Continue.
with her.
Paine's use of the term amalgamation should dispense once for all with F.D. Nichols' claim, repeated by a number of Adventist writers since, that in mid-19th century America, the word was not used to describe animal-human combinations. It clearly was. We can finish the stream right here.
You better believe it was. That's exactly how Ellen G. White said it. It was animal-human combination. That's what it was. That's what the word means, and that's exactly what she meant. That's exactly what she said. Black people are not animals. Because just think about what they're saying. They're trying to prove the point that we Adventists were teaching, or clearly Ellen White was teaching, that humans created amalgamation that were black people. And how did humans do that? Yeah, by having intercourse with them. That's what he's trying to prove. That Ellen G. White said they had black man or white man had intercourse with a black woman, and had to be a woman, right? Wouldn't have an intercourse with a black man. A white man had intercourse with a black woman, and this was considered the taboo, or this was actually the amalgamation that they're talking about. So if that is true, where did the black woman come from that the white man was having intercourse with? How did she get here? They didn't think about that. How did the black woman get here for the white man to have intercourse with her, for that to be amalgamation? Did the man create the woman through amalgamation, or was the woman already created? And if she was created, who created her? Did that mean that God created a separate type of human? The black race? Is that what that means? Because that's exactly what they're saying. This is what would have to be. They probably come up with some other kind of nonsense that wouldn't make any sense if it's not this one, right? Because if the white man slept with the black woman, how could he sleep with the black woman if he has to make her? How did this amalgamation exactly happen? Because you see, what happened when a white man sleeps with a black woman, the child does not born black. It is mixed, right? And this mix would be what they would call amalgamation. But the thing still stands. Where did the black woman come from? Exactly how did she come to be? Because she can't be the amalgamation, right? She can't be the amalgamation. Because a white man and a black woman, it can never be amalgamation between two people of the same species. The amalgamation has to be different species. And it has to produce a different species from the two that it came from. It's not going to be the same. That's what amalgamation is. But these race baiters, they can't get past race. Everything that they see in color. Everything that they see, everything that they do, Everything they think about is in, oh, this is, he's looking at, he's a racist. This is a racist. That's a racist. This is racist. Oh, that chair is racist. This computer is racist. This house is racist. This whole country is racist. Everything is racist to these people. Because they think they are inferior, and that makes them inferior. Myles, right there laughing at them. Yeah. They're laughing at them. They can't figure that out. Look at them. They can't figure any of that out. Consumed by hatred. That's what it is. They're consumed by it. Can't think for seeing race. They can't even hold a thought, brothers and sisters. Everything is racist to these people.
But we're not gonna, right? This is precisely why White was immediately understood by both her critics as well as Smith to be saying that racial differentiation was the result of animal-human hybridizations. That's on page 9 of our Osborne's article. All right, you guys can jump in there if you'd like to. Or
Osborne. Okay.
Do you have Smith's quote, or do you want me to bring that up right now?
Oh, I got it. Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wait for it then. It's
right.
just disgusting.
And CMB, it wasn't just Payne who was speaking like this. There were a number of guys who were literally writing on the subhumanity of whites and blacks and blacks rather.
No, I don't doubt that at all. You had racist people. Nobody is negating the fact that there was a whole lot of racist people back then. Nobody's negating that. Nobody has never negated that. It was a racist country back then. But one evil was better than the other. I'll get to that in just a minute, so I ain't gonna say anything else. But this idea that the difference was the result of animal-human hibernation. So basically, what they're saying that this union, right, produced some type of subspecies. That's what they're trying to say. But the problem is that, you know, if you get just think about it. Just think about this. If you get a black woman, I mean a very, very black woman, and you get a very, very white man, those children are not going to be very, very black. Notice that? They're not going to be very, very black. It's going to be lighter. And as time go on, these black children can actually become white children. And their descendants, right? If they keep intermarrying in between whites, it keep getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And it comes to the point where you can't see the difference. You can probably see that there's some difference, but you can actually get a white child if you go down far enough. If they keep intermingling. So by their definition, you know, it would come to the point, according to them, say Ellen G. White probably believed that they would come to the point that if they keep it doing it, they would actually end up white. And that would be a problem. That's actually what they're trying to say. But tell me something. There were black people. Huh? So exactly how was this happening? Because you go all the way down to Africa, and people, they were black. They were black, right? They were black people. So exactly where is the amalgamation there? Where is the union in between whites and black? There wasn't any union going on down there. There were black people marrying black people. Now the question is still this: where did the black people come from to be able to do this amalgamation that they want to prove? The black people had to exist, right? They had to exist. They had to exist. Where did this come from? If God, just think about this. If the Bible says that God destroyed all of those in the flood, right? He destroyed all those animals and stuff that mix these hybrids. So if let's just take that a step further. Let's take it a step further. We want to just go down and just play it out in our minds, because that's where all this thing is going to have to happen. We can play it out in our mind. Let's just say that they are right, right? Somehow there was the white man somehow found a way to amalgamate with, well, no, somehow black people came to be, right? Man created them through interbreeding with well, I don't know how they interbreed with, right? But somehow they interbreed with something, because it couldn't been with the white woman, right? Couldn't been with the white woman, because then that wouldn't be amalgamation according to these race betas. Wouldn't be amalgamation. So man had to interbreed with something else that wasn't human, and it made these mixed races, these types of men, these strange beasts. Here comes the flood. God destroy all of them. All of them. They didn't get on the ark, right? He destroyed all of them. They didn't get on the ark. That's the point. So tell me something. Where are you going to get them from now? Since they're all destroyed, you got Noah, his 3 sons, and his 3 daughters, and his wife. Where did they come from now? If they were all destroyed in the flood? They don't think about these things. No, because they're raised betas. This would go right over their head, even if you show it to them. No, because they are, what's the word? What do you call these people? Professional victims. That's what they are. Professional victims, lifelong victims. Everything, they are being oppressed. They're oppressed for everything. You look at them, you're oppressing me. You think about, oh, he's oppressing me. I can feel him thinking about it. Everything is race. Oh, I'm black. It's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. You live in the best country in the world. The best country in the world. I ain't get to that yet. I'll probably speak about that later. When they get down to it, I think they are going to say something about it. Let's continue.
The subhumanity of blacks, whites, and Caucasian races. For example, books like Negromania, what is the black man, human or beast, and a number of them were purporting the same idea. And the same idea surrounding black and white interracial marriages and finding them, the segregation, etc. All of these were floating around. In fact, Ellen White had these in her library as well. So she was drawing from a lot of these books and reproducing their racist statements and ideologies and claiming that they were from God.
Mm-hmm. Listen to that. So I got a whole bunch of books here in my library. A whole bunch of them. I read them. And I get something from all of them. But I ain't going to get up there and say, okay, I read this books from Thomas Paine, or I read this book from Evolution. And now, because it's in my library, I believe that. Yeah, that's going to influence me. It will influence me. Then to not following it. People read things for different reasons, You ever thought about that? You ever thought about that? Some of these guys here, I think it was Myles, if I'm not mistaken. He was talking about this sometime, I don't know if it was him or someone else. Maybe it wasn't him, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it probably was him. If it wasn't him, then I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. It's totally innocent. Let's talk about the Masons. How did he find out about Masons? Maybe he has a Mason book. But that means that he is a Mason, because that's going to affect his thinking. Yeah, he's going to think like a Mason. Everything that when he rationalized things and think in terms of Masonry, because he has a Mason book. How many of us have books on our shelf that we have there mainly for education purposes? Doesn't affect us. simply to have the knowledge of the nonsense that's out there. Nothing else. Doesn't mean that we believe it, doesn't mean that we teach it, and doesn't mean that we are influenced by it. Doesn't mean any of that. She was a woman of study. She read a lot of books. She read a lot of books on history. I said this in my last video. They get her words talking about this. She was plagiarized. Back then, that didn't exist. It didn't exist. You know that these people were alive. No one then came to her door. You know something? You plagiarizing? No. That was like an honor for someone else to mention you in their books. They didn't have the laws that we have today. We want to go down and say, oh, she did this and she did that, and she shouldn't do that. She shouldn't. Friends, God showed her visions. He didn't give her dates. Just like if I was to come here and I show you a video, say, hey, look at this video. Okay, when did this happen? Huh? Yeah, this is me. When did this happen? You have no idea when that happened. And now when you write in the book, and that book needs to be sequential, which is what she had to do. There's many things that she saw in vision that afterward, when her son was sure, when you think about this, oh yes, that's true. But why didn't you put this in your book? But I didn't know where to put it. Yeah, I saw that. That's actually true. And this is when it happened? Yeah. So why didn't you? I didn't know where to put it. She didn't put it in her book because she didn't know when it happened. This is why she had to study history. She was studying history to find out when these things took place that she saw in her vision. And when she got the dates, that's when she would actually use them. And if something was very, very well written, why was she going to rewrite it? Would you feel better if she had just written it in her words? Would that have made you? It wouldn't have made a difference for you. You would still feel the same way. You would say, oh, you see what she said here? I can bet she get that from here. I can bet. Everybody else had these books, you know. It wasn't like she was doing things behind the scenes. It only until lately that this became a problem. A problem because of people like you, Myles, and the people that taught you. They started to teach that Ellen G. White, whenever she said something, everything that she wrote, she saw that in vision, and God gave that in vision, and she couldn't get that from nowhere else. She did see it in vision. God did give that to her. But these people actually knew when it happened. God didn't tell her, okay, on such and such date, this and this happened. No, God was showing her visions. She was standing and seeing. There wasn't any date in the bottom there or whatever she was seeing. This is the year the 10 BC. None of that was there. She went to the history books to find out it's a whole bunch of things that were in history book that she didn't put in, right? Why did she put in other things? Because it wasn't true. She didn't see it. And she said, I don't know anything about that, any of this other stuff. This thing I know about. This happened, when did this happen? Or did they say that this happened this and this time? I can use that. I know when it happened now. I can put it in my book in a correct order. Not putting the head at the tail and the tail at the head. This is why she used to read the history books, brothers and sisters. That's why she used to do it. Because God didn't give her anything. You just put it there and then God took over her hand and God was writing for her. No, brothers and sisters. She had to do that herself. God, sure. I said, okay, you go so straighten it out. She had to go and study. This woman used to study, brothers and sisters. She was reading books. She was reading all kind of books. That's what a learned person do. If she didn't do that, you would have a problem with that too. She didn't know anything. She didn't even used to read. She had one book in her library. If she had one, you still wouldn't be happy. You still wouldn't be. You still would find some. You see that? She was lazy. She wouldn't even read other books. And she won't come and tell me. And if she do it, she's stealing from other people. There's nothing that you can do to help these people. They're raised betas.
All right. Myles, I put something in the back chat if you don't mind checking that out here. So Myles is going to post a link to an article from harvard.edu talking about scientific racism. Okay. That's a whole thing. Okay. And its tendrils still cling to this very day. Okay. I work healthcare, and there are a lot of things and assumptions that happen to be in healthcare that are based out of scientific racism to this very day. All right. So y'all need to be paying attention to what's going on. And just kind of as a matter of fact here.
I have a new word that I didn't heard that before. Scientific racism. I see what this one means.
Serena Williams, the world-class tennis player, almost lost her life based on some issues that happened. And it's very likely, I'm not going to get into that tonight, but it's very likely that had to do with her race. So we're not going to get into that right now. We don't have time for it, but it's a thing. Okay. So just trust and believe that for now. Okay.
Yeah, someone was against her because she's black and she has money. And yeah, something happened to her. She got sick. Racist. Racist sickness. The sickness is racist. Oh, good.